Let's talk about tasks in Teams. I'm going to share with you something today that helps me survive being a CEO at Cloudway, a Microsoft MVP, writing a book. I'm part of the Office 365 for IT pros, author team, and I'm a Microsoft regional director. So it's a lot of roles I have and a lot of different activities I have. And I use tasks in Microsoft 365 and Teams to stay sane. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Why am I talking about this? Well, it turns out I have a YouTube channel where I talk about the GTD thinking for Microsoft To Do and OneNote, which also plays into Teams. And I really believe that if you master tasks in general, you will reduce stress. I think it's a core part of Viva Insights, that employee wellness, and I call it digital well-being. And that's what I've been talking about for the past years. I believe there are two factors to digital well-being. I believe it is master your tasks, break down all the goals you have, because it turns out a task is not a task, it's actually a goal. So break them down into steps. That will help you reduce stress. And the second part, which I'm not going to go into today, is notifications. It is reducing the amount of disturbances you have from your mobile, from your computer, and be better at focusing on the moment. Those two components, I believe, are important for digital well-being. But let's focus on tasks. Here is tasks in Teams, powered by Planner and To Do. In time, this will actually rename to just say tasks, but right now in the transition period, it went from being a Planner app in Teams to incorporate To Do, and then it will be tasks. What do we have here? Let's break it down. So first off, everyone has access to this. So you can go in and add it to your menu, your app menu in Teams. You can pin it, you can even unpin it, and you can pop it out into a separate window if you want to, because you have your Teams conversations, and then you can work with the tasks in Teams at the same time. What do we have in this? Let's break it down as well. So there are two components to this. Of course, you have To Do components. Tasks is the tasks list in Microsoft To Do. So it's the exact same list, and you can create tasks, you can sort them, you can prioritize them, you can execute on them directly from Teams. So the advantage is that you are not dependent on opening a different app in order to manage your tasks. Next is important, which is the same as important in Microsoft To Do, but it also includes Planner prioritized tasks. So it will be the same list as you see in To Do, which combines both Planner and To Do, so that you get a full overview of all your important tasks. I believe personally that this is the essence of succeeding with your task as an individual in Microsoft Teams, that you can combine everything that's assigned to you in Planner and you set them to high priority. And then you have your personal tasks as well that you can have in the same list. So this is the essence of succeeding with tasks, that you have everything in one place so that you know what to prioritize. I will get back to that. Planned is the same, Planner and To Do. So if you have a deadline on your tasks, they will show up here in chronological order. Assigned to me, that's Planner. So those are all the tasks, regardless of plan, regardless of Microsoft 365 group, and regardless of where they're located, you will find them here, all of them that are assigned to you. So if you only want to look at all your planning tasks, this is where to look at them. Here you see I have a list, and this is a list from To Do. But as you also see here, it's a shared list. My thinking is that you should not share lists in To-Do, as I have done here. And that's because we're going to use Planner for that, right? So if you are collaborating with someone and you are working on a set of tasks, you do Planner for that. And don't use To-Do for that, because we need to make sure that we are not getting confused by where to do what. So what kind of shared list is this? This is actually where I shared with my private account. So this is my Outlook.com account, which I've shared a shopping list with my wife and myself. It turns out that you cannot share lists from Microsoft 365 outside the organization in To-Do. But you can do that from To-Do in Outlook.com. So what you do is create a list in Outlook.com and then share it. Then you get this sharing link and you click on it and it's in your list. So here I have Julia, which is on her Outlook.com To-Do. And this is me in Cloudway. So this is the list you actually saw in Teams tasks. So this is the way to do it. I've seen a lot of confusion on that on the internet, that how do I share a list outside my organization? You can't. You need to start it from your personal space. So even though this shopping list, I'm not using this account to work on this shopping list, but I use it to create the list and maintain it so that I can share it outside my organization. Next is lists in general. You will find them. They are in the same order as you see them in To-Do. And again, these are from Microsoft To-Do. Next is you can look at all your planner lists based on the group they are part of, the plan they are part of. So you can even break down a Microsoft 365 group and see all the plans that you are part of within that group. You can do that directly into the Teams application. But there's something missing here, and I saw the comment here in the chat from Stefan that yeah, we're missing some stuff as well in Teams. We're missing My Day, for instance. I know a lot of people like, oh, until My Day is in there, it's not useful for me. And the next one is the flagged emails. They are not showing here. And I believe that, of course, we would like them to be there. I don't know if they are on the roadmap. I have not heard anything that both My Day and flagged emails are coming, but I'm 100% sure that Microsoft is aware of it, and as soon as they can, they will incorporate them into Teams as well. That's their strategy, that you can have this single application where you can do everything. But for now, if you have a My Day and you use that actively, you need to do that in To-Do. But important is still there, and the prioritized tasks are still there. Flagged emails, I believe that part of organizing and processing your different lists, which I'm going to show you later on, you need to move flagged emails to a list that is part of Teams, of the list here, so that you will find them again, but not in the flagged email, because that's just a capture location. So that's lists and in Teams. So what we see here, these are actually Microsoft To-Do and Planner. And if you go into the different plans in the Planner area, you will find the same as you would on the website, so that you can see schedules, you can see charts, boards, buckets. You can organize them the same way. You don't need to go outside of this application to find them again. And then the recommendation is never to delete a task, of course. And if you do, it has nothing to do with Teams. It has to do with Planner or To-Do. which means that you will be able to find them again, but you need to find them again in those platforms, and you will see that they are there. So this means that regardless of what you do, it is Todo and Planner that are the source of this. And this is important to understand, that there's a difference between a plan, which is shared, and then there's a difference between Todo, which is your personal space. I believe you need to use a combination of these. And this is the way Microsoft looks at tasks in Microsoft 365, where we have teams in the middle, where you have Todo for your personal space and Planner for the shared space. And then you see like everything on the personal side, they show up in Todo. And in order to succeed with tasks in teams, you need to succeed with Todo as an individual and Planner as a team. That is where you get the full experience. I see the view in Teams as more of a highlight of your tasks, where you can dive into the native planner if you want to use advanced functionality. You dive into Todo if you want to use My Day, for instance. But you will always find all your current and most important tasks in Teams. And this is, of course, a work in progress. And you will see more and more functionality added to the Teams component as well. But I do understand that tasks in Teams is Todo and Planner. It's just a different view of those. So for instance, if you flag an email, it arrives in Todo. And you even have Power Automate, where you can create tasks in Todo and Planner. And then you have the Graph API. You can customize what you want to show up in Todo and Planner. So that's why you won't find like a Teams task API or a Power Automate, because you need to care about doing it correctly in Todo and Planner. That's how you succeed with tasks in Teams. And in time, you see here you have tasks in Office Docs. Those will also be part in time, not right now. So if you assign a task, for instance, in a Word document to someone, that will show up in Teams via Planner, so that you will see them also part of your task list. Right now, you get an email about it, and that's about it. So it will be more integrated. And this is important because there is a lot of ways to work with tasks in your life. You have applications, you can do it manually, analog, on paper, and so on and so forth. But if you want to get the full extent of tasks in Teams and tasks in Todo and Planner, you need to use these applications. And I also believe that you need to start with yourself. I've seen too many organizations, they start like, oh yeah, we need to create 100 tasks in Planner. This is gonna be great. And then half a year later, one task has been changed, or maybe 10, because you were having fun in the beginning, but then people just forget about them. Because it's not in their blood to work with tasks in a good way as an individual, because it needs to be part of your work process. And this is interesting. You will find that Viva Insights more and more will look at what you do. So this is the virtual commute from Viva Insights, where you see, hey, way to go, you already completed 2 tasks today. And that is true, I did complete 2 tasks. And then it's important to know that, hey, they came from Microsoft Todo, that's what it's looking at, and it comes from Planner, and it looks like what I've actually completed as a full task. And this is actually the first time I've seen Microsoft actually highlighting for you how many tasks you are completed in a day, because that's actually something we're missing today. You won't get a report and say, hey, you completed 5 tasks and 10 steps today, because that information is actually really difficult to find, even in the Graph API. So that means that in time, if you use these tools, Todo and Planner, they will bubble up in Teams. They will be part of Viva Insights. It will give you metrics back again so that you can optimize your day. Typically, if you look at productivity methodologies, you should always like review your day, and that's what virtual commute is all about. And I think this is really good because that's the productivity methodologies always talk about. You need to like, oh yeah, you need to, which task did I complete today? Because sometimes you feel that you got nothing done during the day, but that's never true. You always do something. And if you catalog that through your tasks, sometimes actually create a task just to complete it because I did it then and there, but I actually did something because that had the highest priority for me right now. I got a task, I had to execute on it, and then I will get a report by the end of the day. And getting this report, instead of feeling like you didn't accomplish anything, you actually accomplished a lot, and that is well-being, right? That's you feeling that you actually got something done. You didn't get to do what you expected to do, but you seldom do, right? It's very rare that you actually do exactly what you had planned. Things will change. And having this kind of information as part of the virtual commute, I think is the step in the right direction. And this shows the direction Microsoft is heading in, using data insights in order to give you valuable feedback. And instead of you doing this manually, by using the tools that are integrated like Todo and Planner and Teams, you are actually feeding back data to the platform so that you can use it and give you insights, like through Viva Insights, how you're actually doing. So it's a positive feedback loop. But of course, it requires you to use Microsoft Todo and Planner. So let's look at Todo, because one thing is to have the tasks in Teams. That's great, but you need to capture them into Teams as well. And the way to do that is to succeed with Todo and Planner. I'm going to focus on Todo now because, as I said, yes, you can start with Planner, but you need to have this as part of your core routine. So you actually need to start with yourself. To incorporate the idea of working with tasks in Microsoft 365 as well as a habit. And as we know, it's difficult to change habits. So step one here is actually change. You need to actually want to change. You need to want to change your routines. And it turns out it takes about 21 days to change your routine. And that information is actually interesting because now we have been working remotely for a year. What kind of habits has changed already? No one knows, but that's the story for another time. All right, capture. I'm going to show you how to capture a message from Teams and have it land in Todo, and you can even have it land in Planner if you want to. But this one is actually most important. How do I do capture on mobile? The other day, actually every day, I surf on LinkedIn, I surf on Twitter, I surf the web, and I always find information I find useful, but I don't have the energy to read it then and there. I know it's important information for me, but I want to postpone it to later so that I can read it when it's relevant for me to read it. It's information I want to write about in the monthly updated book that I'm part of, or it's part of a talk I'm creating, or a project I'm part of, or it's just like new information that I want to process later. And that's where the mobile capture is super important. And then I'm also going to show you how to reach zero inbox, which then you use flagged emails to achieve that. So pay attention now, because this is maybe something you haven't seen before. So typically I get like information, or I get some fun facts in Teams, or someone asks me, hey, can you fix this for me? And they ask me that in Teams, and I say, yep, I can fix that. And if I don't capture that, it's gone, right? Or I need to go around and remember it, and that creates stress, and unless I do it right away, of course. So by adding a Power Automate, I can actually create a send to do action, which then shows up in Todo, which lands in tasks, which then lands back in Teams, because tasks is part of the Teams tasks. So as you saw that, I went on and sent it to do, and almost instantly it actually was available in To Do. So now I have it as an action. How cool is this? And let's unpack this a bit. First off, what's interesting to see is that To Do supports hashtags, and if you're using that in the actual original message, that will translate over to do. And if we look at this further, it will actually include the link to the original message, which means that when you are processing this and working with it, you can go back to the original message, and then you can continue the conversation or tell your peers that you have accomplished the tasks. This is very, very cool. And it's a Teams tip that you can get started with today, because it's actually available on my blog. I call it a universal Power Automate, because you don't need to do anything except import it, and it just works. Because I don't have not hard-coded any variables into this, so it will work in any language, any tenant. All you need is a Microsoft 365 license in order to run this. So go to my blog, msunified.net, search for Power Automate. There you'll find this routine. And I'm standing on shoulders of giants here, because I got inspired by Vesa Nopanen, who actually talked about this first, but I created like this universal version of this. So go and check it out, because you can get started with this today. And Microsoft has heard this message loud and clear. So they figured like, yeah, the community is doing it, so we can do it as well. And they will actually release soon, sooner than later, hopefully, before the summer, the ability to do this natively within Teams, which means that you can create a task here, and this is only available on desktop client, unfortunately, and not on the mobile client. And here you can choose, actually, if you want to create a task in To Do or a task as part of a planner plan. And post it there. You can even assign it to people, and you can even click for posting it back to the channel where you captured the task as well. And then it actually gets posted, and you can open the task with a button as well. So great stuff, and I'm really looking forward to this. What I really need, though, is have it part of Teams mobile as well, because I do productivity and stuff on my mobile as well as on PC. But it's a great start anyway. But if you don't want to wait for it, check out my blog. So hopefully that was useful for you, but this is something I use all the time. Capture on mobile. And this is the essence of succeeding with tasks in Teams, even though we're capturing with To Do. So I was browsing Twitter yesterday, and I saw that Rima Race had a great tip. I also have a super wide screen. I never heard about fancy zones, and it's actually a Microsoft product. Like, I need to do this, but not right now. So I want to capture it for later, because there's one thing I hate. And this is actually the reason I started blogging, is that I know that I saw it somewhere. I don't remember what it was, so I can't find it via search. And sometimes you can spend hours finding that information again, but by capturing it this way, super easy, super fast, you have it for later. So what does that look like? Well, I click on share in Twitter. So I click on share, and then I share via, and then since I'm having a work profile on my Android, I need to go to work profile, and there is To Do. And just share it. Yes, it's just a link, but the point of capturing information is not for you to decide then and there where to store it. The point is that you need to just capture it without editing anything, just not thinking about it, because I'm capturing it, moving on. I know exactly where to find it again in the tasks section in Microsoft Teams and Microsoft To Do. After that, I, of course, need to process it. But there's one more thing I want to show you, And that is capturing an idea or a thought, or if someone tells you something smart or insightful or a quote, or sometimes I'm out walking out and about, and it happens from time to time that I'm out exercising like once a month these days. Other than that, I'm sitting here at my office. But when I do that, suddenly my mind keeps spinning because I have what's happening. I'm changing the location I'm at, so suddenly new ideas just connect and something new happens. I need to capture that, and then I just bring out my phone, go to To-Do, which can also be part of your launch apps, and just capture the idea. Super easy. I don't need to think about where it is. Write down the idea, close it down, continue what you were doing. So the other day, actually, I had a 30-minute walk. I had to stop 5 times to note down my thoughts, because by the end of the walk, I would probably have forgot about what I was thinking about because I have moved on. But now I have captured it so I can review it for later. And where does it show up? In tasks in Teams. And then capture email. And this is actually shown from an iPad. So the way I do that, I have an email I cannot do fast, so I need to do it later, which means I need to flag it. If you're using flagged emails for other areas, you should switch that around and do flagging so that it goes into Microsoft To Do instead. And by flagging the email, I know that the Microsoft 365 project is something I will find again. So that is very useful for me. But how do I reach zero inbox then? Well, zero inbox is just about processing your inbox, either responding to them or flagging emails, and then sending them to the archive folder. Because the moment it is out of sight, it is out of mind, but you know that you have captured what's most important for you, which goes into the flagged email location within Microsoft To Do. From there, you need to process it and process them into different lists so they will show up in Teams. What is the archive mailbox, you ask? Well, the archive mailbox is actually just a folder. So I'm not talking about the archive mailbox, but the archive folder. And the point is that the archive functionality exists in all clients. It exists on Outlook mobile, Outlook on computer, Outlook for Mac, Outlook on the web, and flagging of emails works on all platforms as well, even though you're not using the Outlook clients. And here you'll find everything. I haven't deleted anything, but I have processed it. I don't have that feeling that there's something in my mailbox I maybe should have been doing, because I know that everything I should be doing is in my task list, so that I can remove those burdens from my shoulders. And if you get to do this every day or every Friday or by the end of the month, you will find that you are releasing that weight off your shoulders. You will get less stressed and you feel more in control, so that you can forget about it because you know that you can find it again. And those were the capture methods I wanted to talk about today. And especially the mobile one is important. And where do we find them again? Yes, we find them in Teams under tasks. That's the capture process. And then we have the processing. As you remember that I said that you need to break down your goals into actions. And you can do this for Planner. You can do this for to-do tasks. You can do it in the To-Do app, in the Planner app, or in the Tasks app in Team. Doesn't matter, but you need to process it. So since emails the flagged emails doesn't show in Teams, you should empty that capture area and organize them into the lists you have in To-Do, so that you will also see them in Teams. You can prioritize them if you want to, then they will show up in a prioritized list as well. And here you see that I've broken down this Microsoft 365 project. It's a small project, apparently. I'm all alone on this project. And then plan the workdays, design architecture, install Visio because I haven't installed it yet, call Bob, to get more information and so on and so forth. And every time I want to execute on this project, I know exactly where I'm at, so I can just continue from where I left off. I have a YouTube video on this where I go into this in more details, what kind of list you should create and how to organize them. So check out my YouTube channel. But use important tag, because that is, yes, you can organize them into lists, but you will have one task in this list and two tasks in that list, and then some planner tasks and so on and so forth that are super important for you to get done today, tomorrow, this week, this month, this year. And you flag them as important, and they will be bubbled up into the important section in to do and tasks in Teams. And it will be regardless of where they are located. So this is actually the full list of what is most important for you at this point in time. And this is where the magic starts to happen, because you're actually merging all your team-based tasks, all your personal tasks, and you can see them right then and there in Microsoft Teams, where you can work on those. And the goal is to be confident that this task that I'm working on is actually the most important task that I'm working on. And there's nothing else that has a higher priority, so I can focus singularity on this one, singular on this one. And important then shows up in tasks, in Teams, and you take it from there. But this is the fun part, the execution of doing this. Why is it so fun? Well, we get to use some Viva Insights, you can use My Analytics, you can use some PowerShell, Power Automate to tell your peers that you're unavailable. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the custom focusing status. And this status is magical. Why is it magical? Because you cannot set it yourself. You can only set it via Viva Insights. If you go and protect time and you schedule focusing time, during that time you will be in the do not disturb mode called focusing. And you can book those hours or have My Analytics and Viva Insights book it for you. And this is the point, that you are booking time for focusing. What are you going to focus on? You don't know, right? Because there are tasks that are more important for you at that point in time than is even in your important list in tasks. So what you're going to do is, in the beginning of the day or beginning of the focusing session, which is 1 hour or 2 hours, you prioritize your task and looking at what's most important for you, and then you get doing that. It could be a series of smaller tasks or one large task. Doesn't matter. Or you even use that focusing time to focus on organizing your tasks, prioritizing, and so on and so forth, removing those burdens from your shoulders and processing your mailbox. And so this is all connected, as you see. But I think it's much cooler to control the focusing time myself. So I actually created a to-do list, which you can do directly from Teams by putting a number as a task. I can take that in Power Automate and then manipulate an existing focusing time calendar event, which then at the time I'm specifying, which is the number of minutes I have in this list, 25 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 hour if I want to. And then after 3 minutes, I will have a new event in my calendar, and instantly I will go into the focusing mode. And I will tell my peers that I'm focusing right now. So if you don't get an answer, it's because I'm focusing. It says do not disturb. But it's okay, just send me a message, but you know that you shouldn't call me or anything, because I'm actually focusing on other stuff right now. This, I also have like a universal Power Automate on my blog. So go to msunified.net, search for Power Automate, and you can get started with this yourself. But I have one more way to do this, where you can do more with PowerShell, where I actually created a Pomodoro PowerShell timer. And what is Pomodoro? I will tell you later. But the point is that I will actually set the custom focusing status. I will set my hide the badges on the taskbar so that I don't see how many unread messages I have in Teams, because that's too much of a distraction for me, I will open my specific Spotify list so that I can use music to focus. I use if this and that to mute my mobile so that my mobile actually goes into do not disturb. It cannot stay in do not disturb. That's why by the end of the session, I will open everything up again. The calendar event is ending. I will unmute my phone. My badges are showing again, and my team's presence is resetting. How cool is this? And best of all, if you want to get started with this, I won't go into detail here. I have a YouTube video on this, and you can go through it. It's 25 minutes long. I go through step by step how you can get started with this. Everything is on the interwebs. So go to my YouTube channel, Ståle Hansen. You can either use the Power Automate version or the PowerShell version, depending on where we're at. But get started with Viva Insights at least, so that you can schedule those focusing times. Use the tools available to focus. And if you thought that your colleagues or your cats or dogs were the ones distracting you, you are so wrong. It is you who are distracting yourself. And we need to use the tools available to arrive into that flow state, that deep work. That's when we get stuff done. And turns out that music with beats for 50 beats per minute and between 50 and 80 beats per minute, they actually induce alpha waves, which helps you focus. That's why people say, yeah, you need to listen to classical music like Bach and Beethoven, because that is actually music with beats with 50 and 80 beats per minute, so that you get into that deep work state. We need to hack this, people. It's possible to hack it. I actually have my own lists. I call it waltz spiral. It's like waltz music because it has beats between 50 and 80 beats per minute. And I like that spiraling music, like spiraling me down into the productivity mode. And I believe that I can actually be in the flow state within 5 minutes with this. But I've been practicing for 10 years. It turns out with the correct type of music, you can actually arrive into focus within 13 minutes. If you do this entirely by yourself, it may take up to 21 minutes to reach that flow state. So if you just go ahead and distract yourself all the time, every 5 minutes, you will never reach that flow state. So instead of doing it in the evenings when no one is distracting you, because you believe that that's what makes you productive, what if you can do it during the day? And you can use the focusing mode, the Pomodoro scripts and everything, and then hinder yourself from distracting yourself. If you want to go to Facebook, no. Twitter, no. LinkedIn, no. Instagram, specifically not Instagram. Check emails, no. Check your local news sites, no. Reddit, no. Forgot to get yourself a coffee. I'm sorry. You need to wait 20 minutes, and you can't do that. It's only 20 minutes. And then if someone calls you, you get a notification on your mobile. No, that's why we mute the phone, right? That's why we don't want to have those distractions. Sometimes you get like a message, a pop-up. And I had 200 messages in Teams, and I was like, oh, I need to check those messages. And then you break your flow state. That's the challenge here, people. And use My Day to find those prioritized tasks. And the Pomodoro technique is all about focusing for 10 to 25 minutes, and then you're entitled to a break. You can take a break 5 minutes, 10 minutes, doesn't matter. My goal is to do 1 Pomodoro per day. That's my goal, because I have meetings, I have back-to-back meetings typically, and other stuff to do. So if I get to do 1 Pomodoro, that's powerful. That's like 25 minutes of like full focus. I get so much done. I can tackle that difficult message in Teams. I can wrap my head around a problem. I can get started with that documentation or my presentation for Teams Nation. And that's the routine, people, that you need to incorporate this in how you work in order to succeed with tasks in Teams. Yes, from a technology perspective, they're there, you can use them, but are you using them? Are you succeeding with them? Who knows, right? And then you need to extend this to the team. You cannot expect that, oh yeah, I created 100 tasks for you in Planner. Good luck. It's like, that's not how it works. I see I'm about to go out of time, but I had something else in store for you, and I will do the fast version of lists. What kind of role does lists play into this? I will do like the 30-second version of this. So bear with me. So lists is not a task system. It is actually Excel on acid. And the best part is that you can measure it and you can power automate it. So I created a routine actually where I maintain the tasks of the team within lists. And then when a task actually gets ready to be executed, that is when I create the planner task. Not initially, because we need to make sure everything is in place before we can get started with that task. So we reduce the number of planner tasks and the master of those shared actions or even goals. They are in lists and not planner. Because if you complete the project you use project or you use another time management system, for instance, for the team or the organization, this is the master. So if you complete it in lists, it will disappear in planner. So I created a list for this, like owner, what kind of project it is, what status it has, remaining hours, and so on. This is actually how we do projects within Cloudway. And then I have a Power Automate, which captures changes because it's a SharePoint element. And then I do some fun stuff with that and create a planner task, which actually has linked back to the list stuff and even to OneNote if you need that. Then I encourage everyone to break down this goal, the planner task, into steps. Again, you have the same routine. Doesn't matter if it's a to-do task or a planner task. You need to break it down into actions so that everyone knows what's going on and you don't need to reinvent where you are every time. This is the essence, people. But the thing is, if you want to succeed with this, you need to change your habit. And it turns out by putting emotions into those habits, like I want to feel like I have control. I want to feel like I don't need to remember everything all the time. You need to envision that feeling, and that gives you grit in order to actually complete and do this. Do those reviews every day. Do that virtual commute in Viva Insight. Do the monthly commute and so on, and review. And that gives you the power to actually power through it. And that is getting stuff done. It turns out getting stuff done in the proper way, in Teams, in Todo and Planner, that's digital well-being. I think that's the #1 skill everyone needs to learn for the next decade. If you're not mastering this, you are missing out, I believe. Thanks for attending.